And welcome to Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and today you can hit the thanks button if you like anyway. And I'm Rick Snider. Welcome to the show where we talk about Washington Commanders every Monday, 8 to 9. We haven't missed a week since training camp. We're going all the way to the Super Bowl, team or not. And hopefully we'll have fun. Nobody's here yet. But Steve, I think you're here. You're just lurking. Haven't seen anybody yet. Okay. Steve, who's there? Is it you first? So I don't have the box working. There it is. LimeWire, you're first tonight. Okay. Steve, where are you? I feel abandoned. Steve's always first. All right. So I just kind of kill a minute here while I'm waiting for the room to fill up, and we'll talk about all the exciting events going on. I hope you guys. Bob's here. There you go, Gregory. Oh, Gregory's already here. Clayton's already here. Christian's here. Man, we're rolling. And Eddie. Okay, so I'm just killing a minute. So I'll talk snow while I'm waiting. I shoveled snow for 4 hours today. Here in Washington, I got 8 inches of snow. I don't know. Around town, that was kind of common. It's snowing right now again. And now they're saying Friday could be a blizzard. So, man, it's just, I knew they said it was be colder than hell for teammate to playoffs again, but here we go. All right. Christian has a question everybody else is having too. So let's do injuries first. Is Lattimore playing on Sunday? I have no idea. We never do. But today, Dan Quinn talks to the media, and he said that Lattimore is trending upward. We hear this all the time. Listen, they need Lattimore badly. This is what they got Lattimore for this week. You know, not November or December if you need him. But he only played a game and a half, and his hamstring went again. Everything's always positive, and yet he doesn't play. I'm not blaming him on this. The hamstrings are weird. But they really need him this week against Tampa. Without him, I don't know how they could win. It's going to be a tough game anyway. I think Washington showed us once again in the Dallas game that the offense can win any game, no matter. Look, Mariota even won this one. I called it, by the way, on Twitter. As soon as he went in, I said he was going to win the game. But they desperately need him. And they also, Bjadic is doing better. I think Bjadic might play this week. He's missed a couple games. They desperately need Bjadic too. As far as Jaden Daniels and his sore leg thing, don't even give that any time. That's nonsense to worry about. He'll be fine on there. Another big thing today, RFK was signed into law by President Biden. I don't know, it took him so long because he was running near the end of the 10-day pocket veto thing. But they did sign it. Within the next 6 months, the land will transfer to D.C. for 99 years on a lease by the federal government. Technically, it's still federal land. It's just D.C. controls it for 99 years. And I think most of us will be dead by then. So I'm going to let the next group worry about that. But it does open it up. Josh Harris was at the White House for the signing of this, which I find interesting. And it doesn't mean that Commanders are going back to RFK, but certainly increases the odds. And it would be a win-win, and it really should go there because everybody's going to make money, and it's going to be a good thing for it all. So I said, Josh Harris has got a horseshoe on this one too because, now both DC and Maryland are really going to want this team because now it's finally showing it can be something good. And so it's not like they were 4-13. You thought, well, it'd be nice to have the team back. But now you see what it can do. You've seen what the team can do. This team has awakened its fan base in ways I never even thought possible by winning. It was just sitting there waiting for it to happen. My wife doesn't watch football, and yet she's yelling at the TV at the end of the game. I'm trying to figure out what number jersey to get her. She's not a football person, but that's typical of what's going on around town. We always said, the fan base, listen, season tickets were down to about somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000 for Dan Snyder's last year. People gave up. You guys said, I'm not giving them any more money. And you didn't. good for you. You helped force the issue. But now everybody's back on this bandwagon. We're going to need a bigger boat, especially if they win this week. And they are playing Tampa Bay. I know it seems like again. Yeah, it always seems like they play Tampa Bay in the playoffs. It's Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Who picked that? But okay, the nation. All you people over in Europe, I'm sorry. It'll be 2 a.m. Actually, I had my wife and I had lunch with a German couple on Saturday who were over here to see the Commanders the previous game, and just interesting to hear somebody from Europe talk about why they like the Commanders and such. Big market. I mean, Germany's going to get one of the next NFL franchises. And that's the news out of today. Although there was a really weird stat came out today. Casino.org said that players in the NFL were fined $4.95 million for various offenses during games. And the Commanders were the fourth least fined, with only 7 fines overall for $86,000. Dorrance Armstrong and Zach Ertz each led the way with $16,883 in fines. There you go. All right, back to your questions. Alexander, Josh Harris was with Mayor Bowser. Is that anything? So we just said that. Yeah, I listen, both sides are interested. We'll just see. The city council, this is what you have to remember. This because I've been through this. The city council decides stadium issues, and they decide funding. Okay, the mayor can cut a deal. You're going to read mayor's real close to a deal. Mayor's cutting a deal. It's the council that's got to do it. 13 members. When everybody wanted baseball back, right? Remember that in 2005? When 2003 they cut the deal with baseball to come here from Montreal, but they had to have a stadium deal in place, and it was a 7-6 vote, and everybody wanted it to happen, and it was still a 7-6 vote, and a lot of perks went to certain people to make it happen. And Marion Barry was really the last thing he did on the city council was make this happen. That's how hard this is, because everybody wants to get paid. So we'll see. I never underestimate politicians' chances of screwing stuff up, but I would think it's going to go to RFK, and should be there by 2030, more or less. Clayton, 2 weeks ago, Baker threw 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, they better be ready for. That's why you need Lattimore back, so that he can man up on this, because St. Juice just doesn't have it anymore at all. Not that he was ever great, but it's got bad. And Davis is worse. This team, when you think about what they got to do this offseason, win the draft or whatever, you need a corner. You're probably going to need a linebacker, maybe if Bobby Wagner retires. You're going to need another receiver, and you're going to need a defensive end. Who were their last 4 draft picks that all busted and aren't on this team? It shows you how the draft is important. Christian thinks they can get the Bucks. I mean, I think they can beat the Bucks. I think it's going to be a shootout. The over-under is 50.5. That's a lot. I think you're going to be yelling at the TV all night. I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa gets out the lead. Maybe Washington can catch them. Dan Quinn said today that he talked to the players and said, I know you can come back and win games, but you don't have to do it that way. You can actually lead early in the game. It would be nice. Play for some house money, but we'll see. Rich B, Jaden's got to get rid of the ball fast. True on that. I mean, Quinn said 3 of the 6 sacks were on Jaden. And going on. I thought Mariota played great, but it didn't surprise me at all. Mariota's got a good touch for things. He's a good spot player. It's just the longer he plays, it doesn't get as well. Daniel, you're late. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to hit a demerit there. I'll call Santa later about it. But thanks for coming. Steve, are you here? I haven't seen you pop up yet. Running through life. We'll get another running back. Yeah, I mean, this is the 3rd straight year that Brian Robinson does not have 800 yards. They do appreciate his blocking. That's fine. That's for a fullback. But I think they need somebody. I mean, listen, Brian Robinson gets shot before his first season. I'm not downplaying that. Second year EB, his offense is just a disaster. But this year, still not to 800. And I just think that's one of the positions to upgrade. Hey, Brian, thanks for coming. Abe's here. There you go. Good. I got to tell you, I just took a nap for 15 minutes before I did this show. I'm so tired. Shoveling snow 4 hours, getting old. I don't mind doing it, and it just wore me out. That's all. Hopefully, this won't be the winter of my discontent. Just like my webs, which by the way, my podcast is Bad Up Seasons of Discontent. Is we were taping it earlier, so it should be up tonight. And you can go to my website. I've renamed it ricksniderswashington.com. So if you want to go see, it's going to be history and sports so that I get all the money. But I'm going to be writing more for it on Commanders than I used to. So still tinkering with a couple last things first. Also, my new show, 52 Questions for God with a pastor, will be a Sunday morning show in about 2 weeks. We're going to do that. One question, 10 minutes. So if you don't want to go to church for an hour, you can listen to my show for 10 minutes. And so anyway, that's the other stuff going on right now, among all the things. I'm still writing for Yardbarker. Have a story up today if you go to yardbarker.com. I don't do board well. I'm sorry. It's just a busy. And right now it is busy. Alexander read that Josh has already met with the council. True. They asked about a dome. True. And I think they call them now translucent domes, which means it's a dome, but not like this hard dome. But you have to have a dome. You can't spend $2 billion plus on a place for 10 football games a year. Oh, by the way, the new thing to do is next year's schedule is guess which one's the international game. They haven't announced any of this yet, but in about 2 weeks they will. So next year's schedule is a ball buster, to be honest. But the NFC teams, including Washington, will only have 8 regular season home games next year on that alternating thing. They had 9 this year. So 8. So that means that it'll be an AFC team will be hosting the international games so that they still have 8 at home. And for Washington, the AFC road games for them are the Chargers, Kansas City, and Miami. I'm going to guess it's the Miami game. I don't think Kansas City because that could be a night game, but I don't think that's going to be a road an international game. The Chargers and West Coast, I don't see that happening. I think they'll take an Eastern one. Miami's got some juice as a name from the past. So my bet is Washington plays Miami, 3 playoff teams there, plus Chicago. Next year's schedule is tough. That's why I say people go, oh, if they lose to Tampa, it's still been a great year. Yes, it has. It's been a fun year, a 12-1 year. They are +8 on wins over last year. That's the most in one season ever. They did +6 twice, but this is a +8, so a record year for that. I say hit the gas. You got karma. This team's got karma galore with all these close wins at the end. I mean, usually they lose these games. So I say hit the gas and go as far as you can. If they win this game, they probably play Detroit. Not going to be easy, but I covered the game in 91. They beat Detroit. So you never know. You never know. So hit the gas and keep on trucking. And maybe they'll be, I don't expect a Super Bowl, but who thought they'd win 12 games this year? So go for it, man. Next year is going to be tougher with that schedule. When does the RFK thing get voted on by DC Council? Well, Mojo, they haven't even cut a deal yet. Got to cut a deal first. I think the deal could be done in the next few months, and then it's going to take a little time for everybody to spread out their needs for support. So maybe the summer or something. Hard to say. It's hard to timetable politicians. And then everybody cools off for a minute, thinking, did I get enough out of this deal? It's not signing quite yet. Mr. Cool's back. Heineke played a great game against Brady. True. That was Tampa. That was the year Tampa won the Super Bowl, and Washington gave him the closest game of the whole postseason. And Heineke stretched out for that touchdown. That was a great game. There was a Dan Turk bad snap. I covered that one down in Tampa. Dan would die less than a year later of cancer. Really sad. I like Dan Turk a lot. He was kind of crazy. He'd walk by you. He'd chicken wing me. It hurt too. but I like Dan. He was a fun guy. Just testicle cancer. Really unusual in somebody in his 30s to get that. So you never know what's coming for you. Do I think Zach Ertz getting old? should a high draft choice be a tight end? Mike, I don't see a tight end going for that. I mean, they still have Bates does his roles. Not Samer still. Who am I thinking of? Senate. You didn't get to play a lot this year, but they like him a lot. So I don't think a tight end's really on the list. Running through life. Biden's still president? Yes, as a matter of fact, till January 20th. Although today the votes were counted officially today. It's January 6th here in Washington, and everything, everybody agreed Trump won. And so we don't talk politics here because nobody changes their mind. But that happened today. Jimmy Carter's funeral is in town on Thursday. So that'll be all day here. I'm old enough to say I voted for Carter way back. Mr. Cool, were you surprised at how well Mariota played? Not at all. I watched the guy in practice a lot. He's a proven vet. He knows this offense. And, listen, this was a tryout for him yesterday because, somebody might see that and go, better than our quarterback. So I wouldn't be surprised. The De'Ami Brown pass surprised me a little. That was pretty cool. Of course, the guy dropped it, but De'Ami threw a bullet. That would have been the pinnacle of the De'Ami Brown era. Teams have caught on the Cliff's running scheme. Zachary, I don't think it's that so much as one, the offensive line can't crack an egg lately. They're better at run blocking. Well, let's try that again. That's why you can tell I'm tired. I've been going nonstop since yesterday. They're better at pass blocking than run blocking. That's a big part of that. And sometimes it's situational is what goes on. Mike, I think retractable domes are out of favor now. Well, it's not a retractable dome. They're talking about a translucent dome, which is not a hard dome. It's translucent, meaning sunlight gets through it, but it is a permanent dome. So it won't be retractable, but you get the sun and all that. I don't know how it works, but it's there. Mike, they will beat Tampa. There you go. Mike, Wayne Fontes. Anybody knows who he was? Well, he was the Detroit Lions coach. I remember that more than now. Gregory, I think Washington needs to present an NFL stadium deal by the end of this year. Yeah, I think sometime this year. We should see at least the first shot at it. You never know how long it's going to go. And now I saw Cook stand at Potomac Yard and said it's going to be built here. Then I saw him over in Laurel, Maryland. He said it's going to be built here. Ended up being built in Landover. So these things are not simple. And $2 billion deals are never simple. Hanson Thor, do you think we signed T. Higgins in the offseason? I'm going to say no. I just don't think he's going to be the fit for them. Certainly is a good player. But I think they draft a receiver more than go sign one. Running through like Mariota is a great teammate. Yeah, he's been all positive this season, mentoring the young player, not complaining because he didn't get to play. And when he's played, he's done well. Joe, anywhere on Commanders using the old Redskins logo? I mean, I hear a lot of this and that, but nothing from official sources. So don't know yet. I won't surprise me if they do. But once the NFL figures out how can they make money and not look like hypocrites so much, well, how can they make money? They don't care about being hypocrites. They do that stuff all the time. So it's coming, I think. The old one. This season coming up, the NFL will authorize a third helmet that could be a retro look. So do we see the Indian face again? Yeah, I think that's how it comes in as a retro look. Has Kingsbury been approached, Bison, about head coaching? There's starting to be some rumors, but not that I don't know of anybody officially doing so. And I don't really think Cliff wants to. Cliff doesn't like really dealing with the media, doesn't like the limelight so much. He likes being the OC and the mad scientist. And I think that's where he'll stay for a little while. Plus, he's got a good situation here. So, and he's still getting paid by Arizona for their head coaching time. So I don't think so. I just don't see him leaving. But you never know. Somebody could say, I have all this money, Cliff. Come. Yeah. There are places I would never work. I always said I'd never work for Dan Snider. I said, but boy, if somebody said, I have $200,000 for you, I might have said, Yeah, he's not a bad guy. I don't know. That never came and happened, but whatever. Let's see. And I no longer work for 1067 The Fan since we last talked. My contract ended and they didn't want to renew it and let me go. So I'm at Yardbarker right now and RickSnidersWashington.com. I'm telling you, I'm going to beef up the website soon. Plus, we have the videos on YouTube and I'm on X and I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Blue Sky, although Blue Sky doesn't draw anything. I'm not sure how long I'm going to mess with that. So you can catch the video 6 a.m. every day if you're new to this, and dinner time more or less, in the evening. And when the off season hits finally, whenever that is, I'll be doing some different shows and times and won't be quite as obsessed. And I'm getting to be 65 and want to do some stuff besides this all the time. So be a little bit of change coming. Be the change you want to be. Isn't that what they say? Well, I love doing this. I wouldn't still be doing it. But I have some changes coming. Going to Hawaii soon. Never been. So that's going to be cool. Going to Europe next fall is my plan. I'll probably miss some games. But, hey, you only have so much time in life, people. I've seen people pass away. And I don't want to die sitting here talking to you at Monday nights. Okay, what time is it? 8:20. So I get to be the whore at this point at 8:20 in the show, and just say there's a $sign if you see it. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on TV, why if you watch this on TV, which scares me that my big head is, on this big screen. But anyway, you can always hit it and donate to Rick Snider's off-season beer drinking money or whatever it is, or just to say thanks for doing the show. Because I do this out of love for you people, but I could still use the money since I just got laid off. So anyway, you can hit the $sign there, or I hadn't thought of this, but why not? My PayPal is, make sure you spell Snider right all these times. People do this. If you'd like to just send money, because why not? We're all rich. Down in the chat is my PayPal and Venmo. And I do appreciate it. And I'm not going to hawk a book so much, but if you'd like to buy one, we can send me an email on that. So, am I eligible for subscribers on YouTube? LimeWire, I've thought about it. I would rather not have a show where people had to pay. I mean, you'll notice I don't have advertising on the show because it's a distraction, in my opinion, and other things. And hey, maybe I'm just stupid for not taking ads because I know I could get them. Because last year, I did more than 11 million impressions on this show between all the videos. 11 million. I know I could sell advertising. But I don't really want to be caught up in all that. I'd rather just you and I talk, do the shows, be fan supported instead of having to take all this, my favorite shirt is it. Whatever. I don't want to get into that junk. So I'd rather you guys just throw a few bucks and we don't have to play those games. That's my feeling on it. Lewis from California is in. My surprise is Giants kept their coach and GM. Yeah, especially since that Hard Knocks thing where the owner said to the GM, you let the running back go to Philly. Are you sure? I don't want to see him playing great down for that team. And what's he do? He runs for 2,000 yards, Barkley. So I thought he was going to fire him for that. And then a friend of mine who covers the Giants said, well, the owner has to really take some of the blame because they were within $2 million on negotiating at one point, and the owner just didn't want to pay it. But he blamed the GM. But they kept him today, and I said that's great news for Redskins Commanders fans because those guys stink. So let them be the bad team in the division. Somebody else's turn. Mr. Cool, don't mind the ads? Well, I know. I just don't want to do it, though. Once you sell advertising, you're now beholden to them, to advertisers, and fairly so. They're paying you. Well, I don't want to. So I'd rather do it this way. But nobody sent me money in the last 2 minutes as I'm a whore and begging. So, that's how it is. At least hit the thumbs up button, if nothing else. If nothing else, that makes the algorithm happy. They send more people to me. So I would appreciate that. There you go. Somebody just did it. Somebody else do it. I mean, come on, you can't just watch the show for an hour or whatever and say, "Oh, okay, thanks, Rick, for all the free stuff. I don't have to pay for anything." Bye. Who else does that? I know other podcasts. You notice that a lot of other beat writers are starting to do podcasts and 2 minute shows and things like that now. Wonder where they got that from. Listen, I don't trademark it, so it's kind of an honor that they figured out Rick's not as stupid as he looks, and they're starting to do it too. Now, did want to mention my old partner, Dave Elfin. Many of you have read him, covered the Redskins for years. We were partners at the Washington Times for many years. He retired the other day, so he's smarter than me. Does KK pull out all the stops Sunday, Dan? You better, because there's no tomorrow if you lose. That's the weird part of this now, We're in sudden death time. Gregory, how surprising we are this year. You're planning to cover Washington Commanders a few more years. I guess. I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore, man. To tell you the truth, I've been laid off 8 times in 11 years. I do different things. I don't know. Being a journalist has been my life, and I don't do a lot of other things. I have other businesses, but tour guiding. I met some fans this weekend for tours, and so if you like to go tour guide in DC, you can visit the website ricksniderswashington.com. But I enjoy doing that part of it. But this is what I do, and for as long as my health, knock on wood, is good, I'll probably hang out and do this, maybe, but not quite as intensely. I'm not going to worry about everybody else's injury reports, as much as including mine. Just want to see what the days bring. Got to that point in my life. Monas was a lot more bad trade. Not at this point. Now, he may not play again this season, and that kind of sucks. But I would not call it a bad trade. It was only a third. I mean, a third is not a 1. To me, a 1 and a 2, those are great picks. A third should be, but it's not as much as 1 and 2. So I wouldn't call it a bad trade. I mean, listen, a year from now, if he's still ain't playing because his leg broke off, then yeah. But I wouldn't do it yet. Mike, what's the thought that JD might have a leg or something? No, don't even worry about the leg stuff. That's just BS. Okay? That's a smokescreen kind of thing. I give that zero consideration about JD and his leg thing. Dizzy, is there any time you may have guests on the show, such as Commanders players? No. How do you like that? Because listen, I've dealt with players for, this is my 47th year as a journalist. So I just don't like to ask favors of these guys so much. You can get this other places. There's only one me in this show. So that's why I don't typically. Now, once in a while, somebody will. I was at a party by Ted Leone just opening an art gallery, if I can name drop. And his son, Zach, was there. I've talked to Zach before, who I really like. They can't win a Wizards game for crap, but whatever. And Zach says, "Hey, man, I want to be on the show. Can we do it now?" And when we did, who knew? So I do bring people on now and then, but my new show will be 52 questions for God, and I have a pastor, and we're going to talk about God for 10 minutes, one question every week. Kind of like, here's a question for you. I hear there's no sex in heaven. You got something better. I'd like to hear about that. What you got? All right, they're not, listen, I'm not blasphemous. I'm not going to hell for this show, but we are, we're going to talk about things that you wouldn't normally talk about. And I do have a guest on that every week. So we'll see. Is there any time? Okay. But thanks anyway, Dizzy. It's a reasonable question. Best way to get in touch with me when I'm in DC, as in Thor, you can go to either my website, ricksniderswashington.com, and email me, or you can just email me to monumentalthoughts@gmail.com. It's monumentalthoughts@gmail.com. Or you can send me a question through here or Twitter or something. It's not hard to find me. And I'm glad to talk about taking you around. Dizzy, is WJFK restructuring all related to Odyssey bankruptcy? Yeah, that's how my impression was. I barely made any money, but I guess my sacrifice will keep Odyssey alive. But I was there 11 years. I have only good things to say. It sucks they laid me off, but I appreciate it. 11 years is a long time in my business. That was the second longest I've been anywhere. I did 20 years with the Washington Times when I was young. So could the junkies have, chipped in tip money and probably kept me? I still will be on the junkies whenever they ask. I don't do Grant and Danny because Danny insulted me and then refused to apologize. So screw him. I would do JP's show. I've done it a couple of times when they ask. I look at it doing radio shows. You don't get paid. I do it as a professional courtesy because I've spent my life asking people for their time to ask them questions. When am I going to be a jerk and say no? But I do it when I can. I can't always do it. Timothy, am I happy they're facing the Bucks? I think the Bucks is the best of the three options, the Rams and Eagles being the other, because they have Tampa has less receiver options. So I think that's Washington's best chance. Clayton, I heard Lattimore would have played if it was a playoff game. Well, people say all kinds of stuff, man. How about Rigo? Mike, I didn't like covering Rigo, to be honest, personally. He was a pain in the butt. It's his life. He can do what he wants. I know he's a fun guy and all that. With the media, not so much. So, no, not interested in him. Not interested in several of the Hogs, guys that were just big jerks to reporters, including me. So I don't have to talk to them anymore, and I'm not going to. And I don't think they're waiting up at night for my call either. How close do you think Dan Q will be to winning Coach of the Year, LimeWire? I think he should be Coach of the Year. Tell me somebody else who improved their team 8 wins. Yes, the Detroit coach did a great job with his team. They have a great record. Andy Reid has a great record. Nobody talks about that. But Dan got a lot out. He got twice the wins. Nobody expected. Detroit didn't get twice the wins. They got what people thought they'd get. Same for Andy, more or less. So I think Dan should be Coach of the Year, and Adams Peters should be GM of the Year. In 1991, we couldn't chat with you. That's right, because YouTube wasn't invented. Only in line at 7-Eleven. Okay, Hugh. Did we do that? It's a long time ago, man. Best pizza as of 2025, Matrix Deacon. Pizza Paradiso, maybe. I'm always looking for something new. I've been to Gordon Ramsay's place by the arena several times. People want to go. I guess I don't like British pizza. Dizzy, B. Mitch gone? Not to my knowledge. Alexander, Alex Starr looks like he's the goods for the Wizards. Well, he's played a lot better lately. He's starting to look like a first-round draft pick. I appreciate that. Envision if Green Bay beats Philly and we beat the Bucks, would the game be against them? No, because you said you have another round. You reseed. You're always playing the high. Washington would play the high seed. Well, if Green Bay wins their 7, they play Detroit. Washington would play Minnesota, assuming that. I don't know. Washington, I looked it up. No 6 seed has ever hosted a playoff game since the 1966 expansion of playoffs. So it sounds good. It's never happened. 2-6 have made the Super Bowl, but they never played at home. The spread against the Bucks, Charles, is Bucks are -3, and the over/under is 50.5. I say I'll take. I'm not sure yet what I'm doing there, but 50.5, I'd probably go over. Fit after 50. Should we consider pulling Robinson? Well, I mean, they have been playing other people at times. I mean, and this guy C. Rod has done okay, and what's the other one I'm thinking of? I'm tired. I'm sorry. Been a lot of hours in a row. Who's the other running back? We all know who it is. I know who he is. I can't say his name. This is what happens when you get in your 60s. You can see names. You can touch them. You just can't say them. So somebody else say it. McNichols. Thank you, Dilu. They've done fine. Kevin O'Connell. I mean, you think when Coach of the Year, Alexander, he's done a great job. I know Kevin from his time here. Great guy. Wish him well. I just think Dan should win. Will you resurface Larry Michael to the pastor show? No, Dizzy. I'm not getting into that. Mike, Dan Quinn has to be coach. See, we all think alike here. Mr. Cool, am I a fan of any Commander YouTube channels as such as the others? Nope, don't have time to watch them. Don't spend any time watching them. I mean, John Kime does a great show. I don't really get to watch it. I'm busy. I'm busy doing this among other things. I don't watch other people's shows. But they watch mine because I see them take stuff. See, Barstool just took a photo of mine off my Twitter feed and just slapped their name on it. The real big guy with the big sombrero and the tequila sign, that was mine. And they came up with it like an hour later. And somebody said, "Oh, you're standing next to you?" No, I was standing on the concourse overhead shooting that picture alone. So screw you, Barstool. Rich, so when you're watching your show, it gets interrupted every so often with an ad. Do I get paid anything for that? Like 10 cents, something like that. They put them in later. It's a click thing. So, I mean, I make a few bucks off of YouTube, but nothing great. I don't pay my mortgage with it because I was lucky enough to invest well and I don't have to worry about things as much. And, I have things. I'm not rich, but I'm doing fine. But I could use your money, so go ahead and send something. Nobody sent anything. You guys are bad. I'm telling Santa we're gonna get a naughty list up. Okay. I wasn't thinking about Eckler, guys, but I was thinking McNichols. But Eckler's back too. He didn't play too much. They probably just wanted to use him in spots on his game back. But I think he'll play a little more in this next game. What opposing player was I in awe of when they played Washington Bison? Lawrence Taylor. That dude was awesome. Brady, I love watching Brady. He didn't play against his team much on there. Emmett, from Dallas was always good. Ertz, to be honest, how many times did Ertz break Washington's back? It's nice. It's cool to watch him play for Washington. Dude has a real intense guy. He's like B. Mitch. Yeah, they're ready to go to war. Alton from North Carolina. Alton, did it snow down there? Because it sure snowed here. Sarah Mario to go in for Daniels. Ooh, he's like this. I mentioned this. It was like Schrader going and the Williams switch. So I just kind of made the joke yesterday of, I remember when Joe Gibbs replaced Jay Schrader in the last game of the season because Schrader was hurt. And he played Doug Williams and then decided to keep Doug Williams as the playoff quarterback. And that was an ugly time around Redskin Park when that happened. And Jay Schrader was not a nice person. And he was pretty mad and said some things he shouldn't have. And, Doug was pretty cool and handled it well. The team went on to win the Super Bowl. Schrader was traded right before the next season. Doug only won 5 games as a Redskin quarterback. It's the end of his career. It was kind of weird, but I said we have precedent for going to Mariota in the playoffs, but I'm not saying to do it. Dizzy, a lot of the Everhill gang still around. Well, Pat Fisher just died like a month ago. Darren Talbert died. McDowell's dead. I don't know about Ken Houston. Larry Brown's alive. Charlie Taylor, I don't believe is still alive. Got to remember, these dudes are like 80 or so. Anson Thor, do we have Terry this offseason? He's got a contract for a few years. Dan, do you agree JD5 must play out of his mind for us to win? Yes. Yeah. He's going to have to light it up again, but he's done that a lot this year. Kid's been unbelievable. I love this is the next Sonny to me, so he can make, now he's a mobile Sonny. Sonny didn't run around, but, whatever. But I think he can be that kind of guy, and he's a really cool person. A lot like Champ Bailey was, that kind of thing. Mr. Cool, I want Washington to re-sign Kirk Cousins. No. Tommy, who do you think should be brought back whose contract's running up? I would have to look at that list to really get back to you on that. That's not something on the top of my head. Guillermo, thank you so much. Go! See, Guillermo knows how to hit the thanks button. Thank you, Guillermo. One of my favorites. And that helps me keep from plugging ads here about, you bet your sweet Asper cream or whatever. Remember that ad? You bet your sweet ass for cream. And they all got mad. I thought it was funny. And everybody got uptight about it. Alexander, Doug Williams said the town cheered when he was named starting quarterback for the playoffs. I don't know that the town cheered before. They cheered after. Joe, Ken Houston's still alive. Okay. Charlie Paler passed away a couple years ago. Okay. I'm trying to remember all this. With 24 free agents, do you expect another year of tremendous roster turnover, Jason? Yeah, not quite as much as this past year because that was 60%, which was the most opening day turnover since 1945 when the vets came back from the war. And I think it got up to almost 80%. Then Crowder and Allen came back to the active roster. So maybe it's like 75%. That's amazing. But I think they'll, if they re-sign half of those 24 guys, I'd be surprised. Probably 5, 6, something, maybe 8 or 10, but that's for another show. I haven't even thought about any of that yet. I live like the players do. Who's they playing next? Worry about the offseason and the offseason. Bring back Jonathan Allen. Gregory, I would have, if I put my money down, I say Jonathan Allen isn't on this roster next year if they trade him. Gregory, how much spending money does Washington have? It's in the 90-some million. I have to look at it because I think the Forbes cut took a few bucks off of that. Joe, thank you so much. See, $2, that's okay, Joe. I appreciate the generosity, on that. So I always say be grateful for what people give you. Name 3 free agents you would sign. Dan, I'm telling you, I'm not looking at this until after the season's over. I only have so much mental capacity and so much time. So I worry what's in front of me. And so I have to get back to you on that. Hollywood, thanks for coming. Joe, okay, so Joe, love the channel. Thank you. It's going to change some. Still going to do Commander stuff, just not as obsessively as I've done the last 6 months. But there's still be stuff there. I hope you still come back. And if you don't, well, I'll still eat dinner tomorrow. But hopefully people will like a combination of things I'm doing. And at this point in my life, turning 65, I get to choose what I want to do. I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. So that's why it's going to be some different things. I got a new play out and we're trying to bring to stage, doing a lot of stuff. I also teach kids online. I teach on outschool.com, teach history mostly. So I do a lot of different, I don't do board well. Like I said, I do that. I got a new cookbook coming out this fall. Spring. What is this? Just to show it to you guys. I'm not selling it right now. This is my old version. We're updating it. Secrets of Caveman Cooking. Yes, that is my name on there. I have a chef certificate. I've cooked in a restaurant for 3 years. Met my wife there, among other things. And it's all about cooking outdoors. I just got a new blacktop grill that I haven't put together yet. Weighs a ton. Blackstone grill. But we're going to have some different stuff in it. So hopefully I'll have it out sometime this spring. Well, we need a new stadium site by week 1, Scott. That's a good over-under, man. That's a good over-under. Because I can see him saying something on opening weekend. I will say, wow, that's tough. You hit the number. I'll say yes, but I don't know. Do you expect to lose any coaches, Gregory? Wouldn't surprise me if somebody moves up a little bit here and there when you have a successful team. So far, I've only heard of 2 head coaches being gone. So we'll see how many go and how many jobs there are. Todd Bowles be the X factor for the game. Alexander. I don't know. I covered Todd when he played here. I'll say no. Hollywood, if a former Redskin gets elected to Hall of Fame, do they go in as a Redskin or Commander? They go in as a Redskin. You go in as what you were. And there hasn't been any Commanders ready to be, Hall of Famers. Now, Bobby Wagner, I guess if he said something, he wanted to be a Commander going into Hall of Fame, I guess player could influence that. But so let's just say Joe Jacoby. He's not going in as a Commander. He's going in as a Redskin. And that's okay. It's okay to say the word. I actually feel pushed back now that maybe, you see Darryl Green was online talking about it and said, I'm not here to offend people, but he says, I think we were duped about a name change. I agree with him entirely. We talked about it briefly the other day. All right, Jason, Is Terry playing hurt? Not really. Got beat up, but he's not hurt. His play's been a little off with Jaden, true. But I think some of that's Jaden. Jaden's been fighting more of a pass rush lately. Flying Turtle, thank you so much. 1999. This is the best team since 1999 for Washington. So I appreciate it. Those of you new joining the channel, because most people watch 15 minutes, more of you watch on replay even than live, you can always hit the thanks button and the $ down below and donate to the cause later if you like. I do appreciate it. So Flying Turtle says, what a great season. I'm sorry to hear about your grandfather passed away this season. And it's always sad, Never knew my grandfathers, but I feel for you. Your whole family's Eagle fans? Ha! Good for you. So, your pops is smiling. Well, good. I hope he is. I hope he sees my dad and tells him, my dad never really got to see my success. He died when I was younger. He didn't really see me as really covering the Redskins. Kind of weird. My dad thought football was stupid because he was a big baseball fan. He was a 6'5" left-handed first baseman. Played a little minor league ball. Football wasn't a big deal when he was growing up. So I hope your grandpa sees my dad and tell him I say hi. Okay, Dizzy. Press release. Intercom announces update to programming lineup. Grant and Danny to afternoon drive. Pete takes over the Junkies. And where is B. Mitchell? I don't know where that release is from. Because Junkies aren't going anywhere to my knowledge. I think I would have heard about that. And not for Pete. And Pete right now is, rallying from a serious condition. He had a surgery a couple months ago. And Pete's a great guy. And I pray for him all the time. The older you get, the closer to God you get, the more you pray, to be honest. So I'm praying for Pete to come back and be back in that press box one day. So I don't think any of that's going on. Craven, odds of getting to the NFC Championship game. I haven't seen the official odds. I will say, if you had to put, Vegas won't do this. Vegas will probably say like 20-1. I think it would probably should be at least 100-1. You got to win 2 games to get there. Scott, look forward to caveman cooking. Thank you. Yeah, everybody loves outdoor cooking. In North Dakota. I have been in North Dakota in April one year. It was cold. Let's see. Dizzy. Not the Junkies. B. Mitch and Finley removed. After the Junkies? I didn't heard that. So did it happen today? I haven't heard this. But I have been busy today. I was shoveling snow all day and then working on things. I'll have to look this over. Maybe it's part of all this stuff with, Odyssey needed my token money to stay alive. It probably pays the phone bill for 3 days a year. But I'm not better. Like I said, I left Odyssey with only nice things to say. Chris, you probably already went over this, but started watching. Any late word on Lattimore? So the word from Dan Quinn was he's trending upward, which Dan Quinn says all the time, and it doesn't mean he's going to play. I think it's something they're going to know more on Thursday, how he is. Something tells me no, but that's just a gut feeling. Sean, thank you so much for kicking in. I do appreciate it. If you have a question, let me know. But I always appreciate everybody who does this. $2, $100, whatever, man. And that's why I don't do ads, as I've said earlier. We got 12 minutes to go on the show. Most people watch the show for about 15 minutes. So sometimes I repeat stuff. Answer, which island am I going to Hawaii? Actually, we're cruising all of them. We're on a cruise ship, and we're seeing 6 islands, like one a day kind of thing. I don't know much about it. I told my wife I would be in charge of getting to Hawaii and coming back. We're going to spend a little time in LA going out and Seattle coming back. And I said, I'll take care of all that. You do the ship. I said, the only thing I want to do in Hawaii, I want to go to Pearl Harbor and see the Arizona, which I have tickets. Got them last week. Finally, they went on sale. Well, they're not on sale. They're $1. And I wanted to go to a luau. And other than that, she'll tell me where we're going. Usually I plan stuff obsessively, but I just told her I don't have time for this right now. But I want to, by February I will. And I said, I want to go when it's cold here so that I can steal a couple weeks away from winter. So, Joe, that press release is from 2021. There you go. Okay. I just hadn't heard anything about it. Ty, thanks for coming. Clayton, the Commanders are still the third best rushing team. Really? Well, JD gets a lot of yards. So JD had a nice run. Mariota, I thought was going to make it, but I guess he got old and they caught up to him on that run. He's a good runner, though. Slashes well. Washington had some good runs. JD had a couple really good ones. Let's see. Daniel, do you foresee the DC Armory being moved? I think they have to. The DC Armory, for those of you who don't know, is right next to RFK Stadium for the DC National Guard. It's a big open building, and in its early days, it was where all the big stuff happened in town, like inaugural events and all. But we have plenty of those things around town now, so we don't need that. And it's just an old barn. I used to go see the circus there every year, take the kids. So I'm sure that's going to get knocked down. Where they're going to relocate, I don't know. But they probably don't need such a big place. The DC National Guard Air Wing was transferred to Maryland as part of the stadium deals going on. And my father-in-law was a member of that wing for many years, more than 20, and he actually fought in Vietnam with them. So it's a real, air guard. It protects the city. And it's going to still be at Andrews Air Force Base to protect the city. So I don't know why. Now Maryland owns it instead of D.C. I didn't see the big need as a Marylander. I thought we were covered. We're military. All right, D.C. Community Carrot. I did like the big snowball fight downtown today. I wish I could have done that. If they have a seniors division, I might play next year. Terry used his hands for the game winner. There you go. I'm just reading your whole thing here. I'm not quite sure what your point is, but thanks for coming. Gregory, will we be in a Super Bowl less than 5 years? I will say that they will be in position. But, it's not a guarantee. And, I mean, look at Buffalo. Buffalo's had some really good teams. Couldn't crack through. Cincinnati got there once. Kansas City's just owned that place. But, I think Kansas City doesn't get there this year, despite being 15-1 and then throwing away the last game. I just have a feeling somebody else is going to get them. Mike, have you seen Landman? Yes. I didn't see yesterday yet. That's a good thing. Maybe I'll go watch that next. I like Landman. It's a cool show. It's on, is it on Prime? I think. Or maybe it's Paramount. I don't know. Landman's pretty cool, though. I mean, I'm a big fan of the actors there, and they have a lot of interesting people to look at. So, without sounding like a creep. So, it's a good show so far. DC, all right. T. Hill, T. Higgins, or which other veteran wide receiver? I say none of them. I bet they just draft one. No one from Tampa. Barn and Bailey was always at the Armory. Yeah, I loved it when the elephants were there. Yeah, I don't want to see the poor animals chained to the ground, and I don't know how you work that out. If they don't have the elephants anymore. I don't want to mistreat animals, but I don't know. It would have been nice to figure it out. I like seeing the elephants. At Mount Vernon, they still have the camel there. I think he's about ready to leave. But I took my grandkids to Mount Vernon this past week when it was 60. Wouldn't know it by now. But just a few days ago, we were there Tuesday. It was 60 degrees. And I got to see the camel because George Washington used to bring a camel to Mount Vernon. Alton, Olamide Zacchaeus has been a good surprise for us. See, I said the whole thing instead of OZ, or as Cliff calls him, Oz. That was funny. Cliff admitted he's been mispronouncing OZ as Oz all season until he was told better. But who am I to criticize people for mispronouncing names? The older I get, the harder 4-syllable words become. Billy Bob Thornton, that's what I was thinking of too, Mike. Billy Bob's a great actor. Do you think Adam Peters should be exec of the year? Lewis, absolutely. Who else? Who else would be it besides Adam Peters? I don't want to hear about somebody else who won a lot. They built it over years. He built it in a minute. It's been an awesome experience to watch. Scott, do you expect an international game next year? Yeah, we're talking about it a little bit. My guess, because it'll be an AFC host, so they'll be the road team. And they play 3 AFC teams on the road, the Chargers, Kansas City, Miami. My guess would be Miami. We'll hear about it Super Bowl week. Is usually when they say this. What's the team's biggest needs after the playoffs, Daniel? They need an edge rusher. I don't want to hear about somebody getting 10 sacks. Wasn't effective. They need a second receiver. They need a corner. Well, maybe not. We'll see with the corner. I wouldn't mind getting one. They need a running back. So, I mean, and they need some offensive line. I would move Coleman to right tackle and draft a left tackle. I think Coleman, he's done okay, but I would move him to right tackle. Mike, I'm not sure what SCOTR is. Supreme Court of the right? I don't know. Washington 30, Tampa Bay 27. I think it'd be a high-scoring, close game. I think Tampa Bay is probably the team you would pick, but got a couple more days. Let's see. DC Community Care. Thank you for your hard work. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to be people realize this does take a little bit of work. I make it look easy. I just say what comes out of my mouth. Dizzy wants to score. Ask again Friday. I like to wait. You never know what'll happen during the week. I learned that covering horse racing. You say, this horse is great on Tuesday. He was. On Friday, he's standing in a bucket of ice. And Saturday, he loses the Kentucky Derby. So I like to wait till the end of the week and see more or less who's in the game. Because things can happen. Hey, Baker could go get hurt tomorrow. I mean, so, let's just wait. Just wait. You don't have to bet now anyway. I don't bet on these games because I think in my era of journalism, we weren't allowed to do that. So I don't put money down on this. But as a matter of fact, since I can say that, here's my last week's picks. So last week I went 9-8. I do it every Saturday. I'll do the playoffs on Saturdays. And for the season, I finished 133, 122, and 1. So I'm plus 11 for the year over 18 weeks, which means not every week was I one up. But I at least had a win. Only lost my shirt once. OnlyFans, I'm still trying to figure out how to have that site. But we'll get to it. Clayton. Oh, you'd like to see the Bills, huh? Okay, against Washington. The other funny thing I was talking to people about, I think the best team I saw Washington play, and they didn't play Kansas City and all, the best team I saw them play was Baltimore. And I said, could you imagine Washington playing Baltimore in the Super Bowl? I said, but here's the scary part. You lose that game, you eat crow for every day of the rest of your life because Baltimore will bring it up every day of the rest of your life. And as would Washingtonians do it to Baltimore. Any conversation, you'll just go, yeah, beat you in the Super Bowl. So you better pray you win that game or else you're going to eat it for the rest of your life. So, all right, we got a couple minutes left, and then I'm going to sleep. Gregor's right. They don't need an extra quarterback yet. I mean, Driscoll wasn't bad. He could have been the backup. He was number 3 this year. You could keep him. My taking Tampa Bay over Washington, Mike? I said ask Friday. Joe Jacoby was just a big goof, Mike. Great player, but I didn't particularly like him. He was rude. And now he's this nice old man. So am I, whatever. But I don't have to deal with some players that I used to. I think Joe belongs in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. I'm not getting caught up in I hate Joe things. I don't hate Joe. I just don't want to talk to him anymore. I don't think he really cares about me either. Chris, if a team does the unthinkable and wins it all this year, with that, I'm trying not to think about any of that. If they won, no, that's for players to walk off. Grim did that. No, because I just still do this for a living. So whatever. I like doing this. We'll see what life takes me. I have said this many a time because my health issues over 20-some years have caused it. God takes me where I need to go. It may not be where I want to go at first, but it always works out for the best. And I firmly believe that. And that's why I'm not making any plans. What they say, man plans and God laughs. So I'll let you know. Frank, I'm cutting back. I am saying that. because I need to. I couldn't really be full time on this hunt anymore anyway. My health would not permit it. Although I'm in decent health, but that would be to be a Redskin beat guy like that. I did it for many years, and I had a heart attack because I wasn't going to be number two, and I did what I had to be number one, and it damn near killed me. So that's why I don't do that anymore. I'm a columnist and give you my great thoughts on things. Frank, where were you for that last playoff game in 06 against the Bucks? Here's something I do. I'm really bad at, Frank, is just pulling those things out of thin air. That's probably the Brunel game here in Washington, but I don't remember a whole lot. I'd have to look at the box score. You got to remember, I've been covering sports 47 years. A lot of it melted into each other. And my memory's just, I'm getting older. It's just not as good. I have to look at things before I can comment like that. Do I ever see NFL money bags go for more than an 18-game season? Greg, I don't know, man. I think 18 might be about it in 2 preseason. It's just getting too much. Now, they're going to move that Super Bowl to President's Weekend. You had an 18th game. If they add an 18th regular season game, they're going to have to go a second bye week, and that'll get you to President's Weekend. So I think that's going to happen. Would the best Super Bowl be between perennial losers, Browns versus Lions? Well, there's other losers too, but I like to see new teams in the Super Bowl and reward their long-suffering fans, just like this fan base is finally, generation getting to see something fun again. So I like to see. I don't like to see dynasties just because I like to see new people and have the fun of their team winning. Chris, thanks for joining the show. I got to do some more pizza shows soon. Dizzy, is Wawa Pizza really decent? Really funny. I looked at my year-end 2024 stats. The number one most watched video I have is an old how to win a tetherball. I swear to God, that thing keeps being the number one. Who's watching this? It's like a 20-second thing where I was playing with my grandson and showed him how to do it, put it up as a joke, and it was the number one again watched video. And then the next 24 were Commanders, and then the next was a Wawa Pizza one I did, where I bought a Wawa Pizza. I thought it was better than 7-Eleven pizza. It was okay.